On the boat 68, Swordfish, Spices and Selfies. We see our first locally caught swordfish, in the flesh as it were. We visit an amazing spice market. And of course, there was the Selfies. Syracuse, or Syracusa, is located on the southeast corner of Sicily, an island off the coast of Italy. There's a large bay or lagoon, and in the northeast corner, a small island covered in historic monuments. There we are, Syracuse. Norwegian Spirit out there. We are out there by that cat. A Norwegian dawn there. We've just tied up the dinghies. Time for a coffee and a croissant. Coffee and a croissant on the front, little bar here, and now we're off to look at some architecture and some history. In 1693, an earthquake struck parts of southern Italy near Sicily, Calabria and Malta on January the 11th at around 2100 local time. The earthquake was preceded by a damaging foreshock on the 9th of January. The main quake had an estimated magnitude of 7.4, the most powerful in Italian recorded history, and causing the death of 60,000 people. Syracuse was flattened, and so everything you see here was built after that date. I guess the EU grant must have run out. It's never been finished. Ho ho ho. Temple of Apollo is dated to the beginning of the 6th century BC and was therefore the most ancient Doric temple in Sicily, more or less. It was once a Byzantine church, from which period the front steps and traces of the central door are still preserved. It was then an Islamic mosque during the Emirate of Sicily. Beyond the temple, there's a huge market selling fresh fruit, vegetables, fish and meat from the local area. At one end of the market, there are a series of spice stalls, selling spices from, well, just about everywhere, from cinnamon to nutmeg, peppers to capers. There are a couple of stalls selling nuts, mainly almonds and walnuts, but a good variety, and again, many of these locally grown. There were locally harvested, fresh shellfish. Swordfish, caught in the Medina Straits, just a few miles away, and a young lady who wanted a selfie with them, and some pictures too. You simply wouldn't believe Mediterranean fish stocks were so low. Well, that's something to shout about, I guess. Cindy managed to find some huge corn on the cob, 80 cents each, which isn't too bad. They were very tasty, cooked on the barbecue. This market happens every day of the week apart from Sunday, that is. It's always full of good food, fresh produce, and it's always amazingly well set out. At this point, we'd like to thank our Patreons for making these videos possible. You could become one of the Patreon crew and get early release videos, lots of extras, behind the scenes videos, and live tracking of where we are. For the cost of a decent coffee or a small beer, you can join the crew. The Fountain of Diana is a monumental fountain from 1907 by Giulio Machetti, with the collaboration of his sculptor's son, Mario. Located in the Piazza Archimedes in Syracuse, the fountain faces south and highlights the figure of Diana with a bow and a dog, the attributes of the goddess hunting, protector of Athena in Greek times. The fountain is unusual in that it's constructed from concrete and not carved stone. The Temple of Athena is a Doric temple, built in Syracuse in the 5th century BC by the tyrant Gallio after his victory over the Carthaginians in the Battle of Himera. The temple was preceded by a cult site which dated back to the 8th century BC with an altar discovered in a later excavation. The temple was converted to a Christian place of worship, and parts of it are still found incorporated into the walls on the left side of the Duomo. Some columns of local limestone and the local stylobone on which they stood still remain visible. Sunset in another 20 minutes. It's bubbling up, isn't it? Top selfie spot apparently. So at this point I wasn't actually filming, I'd left the camera running so that I could capture anything that popped up. The dogs were having a drink, it was quite warm. The young lady on the left decides that she wants us and the dogs out the way for a selfie. Cheeky mare. Hey ho. So we did oblige, sort of.
I'm good. I was thinking something more
Sid,
on an adult.
move out the picture.
Trouble is with me, I can't stand nepotism, or people who are full of self-importance. I ended up taking the mick, quite a bit. Do it again with the hot things in the background. Hang on.
What are we doing?
You've got to do a selfie, and you've got to do pouting and ask people not to get in the way. Go all starry-eyed. Go on. Yeah.
Oh, hang on, no,
Hips, yeah. That's it. Looks lovely.
No shoes?
We're going to the church.
Ah, we are going to. Ah, okay. Yeah.
And it's not even Sunday.
Yeah, there is a plaza with a lot of places.
Tell me when it's taking the photo. Go for
I'll
it.
have a knuckles quick.
It's not taken for some reason, Dean.
Oh, I'll do it again.
That's it.
Grazie.
Yeah. That's it. I think you got it.
Oh, excellent.
The city gateway, built by Dionysius the Great, which remains visible, is the base of the two quadrangular towers, over 8 metres on each side, which probably allowed access to the road that fought and connected the Temple of Apollo and that of Athena. The gate was discovered in 1977, and it assumes a certain importance due to the fact that the islet is the only remnant of the ancient Dionysian foundations. I managed to find these artists' impressions of what the gateway looked like online. As you can see, the porta or gateway leads up to the Temple of Apollo. Just 10 minutes away from the city centre there's an ancient Greek amphitheatre which is remarkably well preserved. Apparently it's one of the best in the area. We weren't able to visit it due to the constraints of time and of course COVID-19. There's also the ancient caves. The Ear of Dionysus is one of these. If you get the chance to visit Syracuse or Syracusa, we'd highly recommend it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And always, sail safe.